Good afternoon, everybody. This is Nez Lover, and I thought I'd just do a little vlog in the backyard here while I had a chance before Diana comes home from school. Here are the very sickening, very disturbing, chemmed up, poisoned up skies of Newark, Ohio. There's Operation Solar Shield in full effect. We've got our noisy neighbors making it hard to make a nice, calm, quiet, peaceful video. But other than that, God is good. And since things are dying off, and there's still some things that are alive and remain alive through the winter season, I thought I'd focus on those things, as my friend Mr. David Yates likes to still see the beauty beneath the beast. Here's a beautiful piece of ivy that was transplanted a few years ago and really took off. And this stays green throughout the winter season. And over here, this is where we have a few of our little departed kitties buried that passed on last year and early this year. But this beautiful English ivy, let's see, we've been living here for a couple of years now. When we were in the apartment before we came here, I picked a small portion of the ivy from out in the yard and kept it alive for over a year in water. And then we planted it here, and it has just taken over this little spot. Here's our compost pile covered with leaves. But let's get a little closer look at this beautiful English ivy. I loved it so much that I wanted to save a piece of it. And God bless it, it has flourished here, and I just think it's beautiful. I should get in a little bit closer, and I would love to do a painting featuring this lovely English ivy. I can't believe how it's just taken off here, like it was just happy to be here. And I thought there's another specimen of beauty amidst the death and hibernation time of the time of year it is, the season change and all of that. I kind of think this is cool. This is a silk plant that we stuck in the ground. Diana's dad stuck it in the ground. But you know what? I kind of like it there. And what's funny is when you watch how nature reacts to it. Squirrels look at this thing like, boy, I'd really love to climb in this thing. And then they kind of give it another look like, wait a minute, that's not a real tree. Quite a few times I've seen that happen. It's pretty funny. You know, nobody's been mad at it and ripped and torn it or anything like that, but the animals give this silk plant the look when they encounter it. It's rather humorous in its own way. Here's the old shed. And here's the lawn mower and sundry yard tools and other things such as that. I like the building as a whole. This is a good thing to practice drawing or painting. I think Bob Ross could take this little shed and turn it into a happy little cabin somewhere. Look at this. It's just the coloring, many colors in that wood green. I've always liked this little shed. But yes, things are starting to die off or go to sleep for the winter. Oh, the old raspberries here. These were transplanted here a few years ago from my son Jason's dad, who gave me 2 very small plants to transplant. And look, there's still new growth, David. Even now, we've had some cold snaps and a bit of frosty mornings, and despite the death of the plant as a whole, and look, there's still a few little red berries in there somewhere. I don't know if you can see what I see, but there's still a few. God bless it, it's still producing some fruit, and I think there's one. Let me get a view of it. There it is. You can eat that right now if you want to. It's the right color. But I thought that was beautiful too, to still see that it's still producing new growth even now. And still producing some fruit that could be eaten right now, if you really wanted to. But this has just been a phenomenal plant. Yes, it needs tied up. It has been. It's just been overgrown and life gets busy. Back here, I've still got some strawberry plant that's hanging on. I thought those all died off or went to sleep for the year, but look at that beauty. They're still hanging on. I should dig up a sample of that. And here is peppermint right here. I'm going to grab a little piece right here. And peppermint, put this in a container of just a base oil, like real plain, like olive oil would be a good choice. And let that sit. I'm not quite sure for how long, but I would say maybe at least a few days, if not a week or two. And the peppermint will infuse with the oil, and you can use that for culinary purposes or medicinal purposes or aromatherapy purposes. What I like to do, because I suffer from migraines, is to take this peppermint and, the peppermint oil once it's made, and then rub that on your temples, your pressure points, wherever you need to relieve pain, and especially the pain of migraines. Makes a good massage oil. It's just a very, very useful plant. I gotta smell it right now. Peppermint smells like candy cane. So yes, peppermint stays around all year long, and it's very hardy, and it remains green and beautiful. Let's see, here we still have a cleome. Remember the big tall flowers I showed you earlier this year? Here's a bunch of dead stalks of the cleome. But down here, some life still remains and is still pushing forward despite the change of temperature, despite the seasons and the weather. And I thought that was quite beautiful too. That's the plant that smells like marijuana. This was all over in this spot this summer, and it just smelled like it was, it smelled like a good time back here. We'll just say that. It was danky and stanky and just a delightful aroma. And it's still, even now, producing beauty. So yes, here's the remnants of the dying garden, but this all get plowed over and mowed over and cut down, and it feeds the earth. And here's the plethora of tomatoes that we had that just didn't make it to getting picked. There's a few more coming right here. Just so many. And these were volunteers. We weeded and weeded and weeded and pulled, and things still shot forth. Look, we've got some green tomatoes down here too. Life is still happening. So even though the changes are happening and things are dying off and going to sleep for the season, life is still pushing its way through, and I think that's a very beautiful thing. Oh, look, here's some, I'm not sure what plant this is. If you know, please tell me in the comments. But still, even now, it's almost November. There's another cleome right here. Almost November, and we've still got beauty and life pushing its way forth. And I thought that was rather inspirational. We've still got some onions here. Now, I don't know if I'm going to just leave them in the ground. If you leave them in the ground, they'll still come back next year. Or I might just dig them up and enjoy those in a nice soup stock, or maybe with a roast or something like that, or in a nice salad. They're going to be strong, but that's okay. You want them strong. You want them good and medicinal to fight off infections, and onions and garlic are nature's antibiotics, and you just can't eat enough of them. And here's the tree that was supposed to get cut down, and yet here it still remains. Look, a tomato made its way up. The vine made it up the tree. There's a little red tomato bit there. So yeah, I still find beauty even though things are dying off. I'm not sure what the heck that is. That might be my greens that took over. Marigolds are still hanging on. They have not all died off. And even though there's many dead blossoms on there, there's very many that are still quite alive and quite beautiful. And my sage is going, hey, pick some, we're ready to be picked. Sage will stay this way all year long, and the longer you keep it out, the hardier it gets. So nothing's hurting the sage one bit. So I will have to come out here a little later and pick a few of these sage leaves. Remember, I told you before, sage is multi-purpose, and for anybody again who's having sore throat from coughs and colds, from flus to smoking to whatever, sage is antibacterial. Sage is good for making your sore throat feel a lot better. So, and I just love it in stuffing. I can't help it. I'm gonna rub it right now. Does that smell good? But yes, dear David, in the UK, I'm just showing you a little more beauty that still remains. Life still pressing forward despite the seasons change. And I think that's how we're all supposed to be. I think we're all supposed to just keep on pressing forward. Things may be changing and dying off around us, but we're still supposed to press on. You know, God willing, we can get through anything that comes our way as long as we ask God to help us. So, another quick look back there. And I still can't believe it's going to be November and these things are still here. So I found that very, very touching and very moving. And this is a spot here where another one of my kitties, Olivia, her mortal coil is going back to the earth. Her spirit lives on and is happy in paradise. So here's lilac bush. Lilac was always one of my favorites and my mother's favorites. It's a beautiful fall day despite the craptastic chem sky. It wasn't too cold out today. It's nice that I can be out here and not need a coat. Here's the window to the room that has our house plants, and my little studio corner is just on the other side of that. This is the bathroom window. This is where kitties like to sit and love to look out and watch the squirrels that are very often to be found up in this tree, chittering and chattering and playing chase and jumping from branch to branch, and the cats just love watching them up in this tree. I understand this tree is kind of in a precarious spot and will need to be trimmed, and I hope it doesn't need to be removed. It looks like it's been around a good long time, and I'd hate to see it go. But it is what it is, and if it has to go, it has to go. But while it's here, I wanted to capture its beauty as well. So this is it. This is just a little backyard of where I live. Diana's dad and I share this home for the time being until I can go somewhere else. Here's our wood pile. There's a few pieces of plastic items that need washed off that just didn't get washed off yet, so I'm not throwing those out. They just need to be washed, but we'll get to that. But yes, it's a cute little yard. Here is the fire pit. We've got some things in there that need to be burned. But yeah, just wanted to give you all a peek of where Nez is at right now. Wish this backyard could have seen some more happy times this summer. We really didn't get to entertain or have anybody over. Just life is what it is. That's okay. I had some fun back here with Diana a few times, and she'd like to play in this spot right here, and I had her little water table and a few other little toys for her out here. I started hand digging this garden out with Diana's dad when we started moving here. I was sitting on my butt with my little shovel and my little hand shovel. And each year, bit by bit, I would expand it further and further. And God willing, if he stays here, if her dad stays here, I would like to still be able to utilize the garden, but, you know, we'll just lift that up to the Lord, and it is what it is. At least for a couple years, I got to do some gardening and enjoy a backyard. This fence really is a big pain in the butt. Whoever did this put it on backwards, and so we've had a lot of problems with fence peekers, perverts, drunks who sit on the stoop at the side of the store here in the alley. I mean, it's just no end of problems. So a lot of hooligans have climbed this fence and gotten back here. I don't know what. I think they smelled the cleomes and thought we had pot plants back here, and so the joke was on them when they climbed and found nothing. So, but yeah, that's it. Ooh, I hear some happy little birds up there. This is it. This is where Nez is at, and I would like to have a fire and either do a live stream around this pit with a fire, or at least do a vlog with a fire. So we will see. Jason and Diana's dad dug this pit out and put the stones around it and stuff when we first moved here, and they did a wonderful job. Well, there's just something about being outside. I knew I wanted to go outside for a few minutes and share with you all before Diana got home. Much love to everyone. I hope you have a good rest of the day. Praying for y'all. I love y'all, and hope to talk to you again real soon.